Good evening and welcome to the Coffeyville City Commission meeting for Tuesday, June 27th. Tonight's invocation will be led by Dr. Dean McNamara of the First Baptist Church. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, let us pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity again to gather tonight, Lord, to do the business of the city. We thank you for all you've given us. We thank you for all of our elected officials. We thank you for those who protect and serve us, especially our police and firefighters, our EMS and hospital staff, Lord. We're so blessed. Lord, we ask you tonight to help us to not think about our wishes or our desires or our will, but, Lord, to seek your guidance and your will as we conduct the business of this city. Lord, may we be your people. Bless us now. Bless each one who serves. Bless all of our elected officials. In Jesus' name we pray. And God's people said, Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Bless you all.
Move into the consent agenda. City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, June 13th, 2017, and 2017 appropriation ordinance number AO-17-12 in the amount of $4,601,232.59. Do we have any questions or comments regarding these first two items on the agenda?
No. I'd make a, any questions?
Nope.
I'd make a motion to approve ordinance AO-17-12.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve the consent agenda as presented. Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
2017 appropriation ordinance number AO-17-12A for Taylor Craning in the amount of $758.80. Do we have any questions or comments regarding these charges?
Nope.
Make the motion to approve AO-17-12A.
I second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Commissioner Castler to approve appropriation ordinance number AO-17-12A for adoption. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Abstain.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. Moving into new business, this is discussion and action to make appointments to the Montgomery County Community Corrections Board. There are two openings, right? I thought it was only two.
On that one, we've got one that is, the term is up, but she's eligible. They've indicated
Gotcha.
she wants to reapply,
Okay,
but I haven't received the application yet.
okay. I thought we only had two openings and two applicants.
So technically, there are three openings until she reapplies. So
Okay.
that is correct.
Okay.
We do have two applicants.
So then,
The applicant is Jennifer Ritter and the other applicant is Bo Rupert.
selecting two, right?
Yes, or we're electing two, correct?
Yes.
So,
Appointing, we don't elect
appointing,
these, we
yes.
appoint, yeah.
That's what I mean.
And they're both here, Mayor.
Okay.
To make comments.
All right,
And
well,
they may, if you notice on the Juvenile Community Corrections Board, those are the same two applicants.
Yep.
So they may want to address that also at the same time.
okay. So, looks like Jennifer Ritter's name is the first applicant. If she would like to come to the podium and give us her work experience, training, and all that good stuff.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name's Jennifer Ritter. I applied to be on the board because I have a deep commitment to the community. I have tremendous respect for law enforcement, and I feel that my professional experience, my education, and my civic volunteer work, as it's on my application, would make me a good asset. And I'll keep it short and sweet. So what kind of questions do you guys have?
I don't think I have any questions.
Oh,
I don't know enough about it to really ask questions.
Oh, okay. I
don't
submitted
know
the
that,
application.
but, huh?
I just submitted the application.
Right.
I just figured they circulated that beforehand. But, okay,
Yep.
I have a bachelor's degree in community development. I've got a master's degree with a dual major in human resources and business administration. I've worked for 20-plus years in human services with all sorts of people that were either involved in law enforcement, or you really kind of scratched your head and wondered why they weren't involved with law enforcement. You know those people. And then I've spent more than 12 years working for the Social Security Administration. So.
Okay.
There you
Well,
go.
while we're talking, I don't know, I've seen your application, but, and I didn't mean I didn't know anything about your application. I meant I didn't know anything about the job. I don't know that much
These
about the
boards,
job.
these boards are both under the direction of Montgomery County, and they're set up by state statute. They're large boards, somewhere between 12 and 15 people. As part of the state statute, there are 3 appointments that are made by first-class cities. We're the only first-class city in Montgomery County, so Coffeyville makes all of those, and they're basically general public type appointments. And
Okay.
that's the same with both of the boards.
Okay, so the corrections board, I guess my question, not for, only for myself, but for the public. The correction boards, what, in a nutshell, what do they do?
And Jim, I don't have all of those details because
I mean, I
we just make the
This
appointments.
first time we've talked about it, we don't get a chance to talk ever, you know, and I go through this once in a while. Maybe it's not worthy of conversation tonight,
No,
but sometimes it is just a minute
but all
so
of
the
all
public
of the
knows.
details as far as when they meet and that type, I'm not aware of that. But and this was in the agenda packet, they're to actively participate in the formulation of the comprehensive plan for the development, implementation, and operation of the correctional services in the county, and make a formal recommendation to county commissioners at least annually concerning the comprehensive plan and its implementation and operation during the ensuing year. That came directly from the state statute.
Okay, I think that's good.
Yeah, there's
Yep.
a pretty detailed.
I saw it, I just didn't want to read all of it. Yeah, there's a lot there, and I just feel it's worthy of just a minute of, we listened to the application, we've been through this, and, you know, just a little bit about what we're doing here, okay?
It is a requirement to have some from law enforcement, some from education, the court services. So those are on the board according to the statute, and then the general public appointees.
Be a good something for a writer to write about.
There you go.
Just to inform the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rupert, your turn.
Bo Rupert. My name is Bo Rupert. I've lived in this community going on about 2 years, coming up here. And you know, serving on this board really hits home for me, if I could get the opportunity to do it. You know, I've spoke with the mayor about it this week. I've spoken with a lot of people. We have a lot of kids in this community that are on their way to the prison system if we can't stop it. And, you know, the juvenile justice system is, you know, really the last opportunity that a kid has before they do end up in the adult prison system. And I think, you know, being a formerly, you know, incarcerated youth myself and a troubled teen, I think there's a lot I can bring to this board. I think there's a lot of direction I can take it in and you know, a lot of insight. I don't think there's many people that understand the struggles and the challenges that a lot of these youth face like I do. You know, it would really hit home for me to be able to do this and have this opportunity, but it's all up to y'all, so.
Sounds good, Bo.
Any questions from the commission regarding our 2 applicants?
Thank you, Bo.
Mr. Williams,
I
might.
guess maybe I had you say it a little quick, maybe.
I had a question. This first board is for Community Corrections Board, is that correct?
Correct.
They have, okay. I don't have anything. I move to appoint Jennifer Ritter to the board for Montgomery County Community Corrections Board.
I'll second.
Well, so we're
Who
bypassing
seconded?
Bo, is that what
You-
we're doing?
okay, Kessler.
Or do we, is this a different one? I thought we were doing it both at the same time. That was the interview.
We just
Okay. we
talked
need-
about both of them and let them make their
Okay,
comments.
we need 2 for the first one, right?
Yes.
You don't have to appoint
Oh,
2.
you don't have
can-
to? Okay.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and
Okay,
seconded.
I want to talk to another minute here. What if I wanted Bo to be on there too?
You can make another motion.
I can make another motion? Okay, thank you, Bo.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Commissioner Castler to appoint Jennifer Ritter to a 2-year term on the Montgomery County Community Corrections Board, serving to January 1, 2019. Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Castler,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye. Now, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Bo for that appointment.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Commissioner Castler to appoint Bo Rupert to a 2-year term on the Montgomery County Community Correction Board, serving to January 1, 2019. Mayor Bauer,
No.
Commissioner Williams,
No.
Commissioner Castler,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
What was that mean? It was 2-2. 2-2 to be.
2 to 2
we're gonna
tie,
next
the
week.
motion fails.
Moving into discussion and action to make an appointment to the Montgomery County Juvenile Community Corrections Board. There is one opening. Applicants are Jennifer Ritter and Bo Rupert. I think we've heard from both of these two individuals already. We have a motion to approve one of these two.
Move to approve Jennifer Ritter to the,
And we have a policy, the city, I don't know how the county would do, but we don't appoint somebody to more than one board.
has there been other people appointed to more than one board?
I can't think of any that we've had.
Okay, then I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay, now Luke Claire's not here.
That's
And
correct.
he withdrew his
Okay,
application.
that's right. I saw that.
We did have,
An email.
application, actually for both boards that came in. I got it about 5 o'clock today. It's past the deadline. I let the person know that, that we'd already, it was too late for this meeting. But there would be continued openings because we've got an opening, on the one board, definitely, and that it would be brought to the commission attention.
Okay. So do we have a motion to,
Well, in discussion,
We'll have a discussion.
okay. Yeah, I'd make a motion to appoint Bo Rupert.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Mayor Bauer to appoint Bo Rupert to a 3-year term on the Montgomery County Juvenile Community Corrections Board, serving to June 30th, 2020. Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
No.
Commissioner Castler,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Resolution number R-17-42, a resolution to execute a lease with Joseph and Megan Zog for 619 South Walnut. I believe we have a representative here. City Attorney Paul Kreitz will make comments.
Yeah, I will make a few comments before Ms. Zog goes. Is Mr. Zog here?
No.
Okay. This, Commissioners, the city manager actually prepared the staff report, so I'm going to borrow heavily from his report, but this has to do with the building just east of City Hall, the building that was purchased for the anticipated use of housing the firefighters while the existing fire department was being renovated. When the city changed course there, that building, I believe, was listed with Heritage Homes and is still listed for sale. There's been limited interest in it. I believe Mr. and Mrs. Zog approached the city about possibly renting that building, and you'll see in the staff report their proposed terms. They want to lease it for 1 year and kind of escalate the rent as they get established. And they do want the option to purchase the building after a year if if their business takes off. Hopefully it would. The Zogs would be required to procure renter's insurance during the term of the lease. They would be restricted to wall signs that would be commensurate with the neighborhood. And they would basically be responsible for the general upkeep of the building, not the structural parts of it, but just as a typical landlord-tenant situation. Staff is recommending approval of it, subject to the negotiation of a formal lease agreement and payment of the utility deposits and the other standard requirements. I think Ms. Zog probably wants to make some comments.
Actually, no, he said everything I was gonna say.
Sorry.
That's okay.
You might tell them about your business.
I mean, I was friends with the lady that owned it previously, so I had known her for about 3 years. And so I knew that the business was profitable. And I have been going to school. I'm an art major, and I just recently graduated from CCC. And so I know a lot about ceramics anyway. So I was very interested when she said that she no longer had an interest in keeping it going. She has health issues, and so does her mother, and she just didn't have the help that I have, and so she just kind of handed it over to me. And so I know that it can be something, but the buildings that we were given, the roofs were in really bad condition. We've had estimates done. Only one person would even give us an estimate. The estimate that we did have done was on the roof alone, and it was $77,000 just for the roof. So, yeah, we need to get a different building, and the one that is on Walnut is pretty perfect to start out with.
Okay. I've got a question. Any environmental concerns with the paint, anything, you know, that would affect anything?
Not that I'm aware of with the paint. You know, there were some underground storage gas tanks there at one time. I think they may still be in place. I know the city at one time had applied for removal through the orphan tank program with KDHE.
That was the only thing that I read in the reports that was a little bit sketchy as to whether or not the tanks were still in existence. And if they are, then you have to file with the KDHE, and you have to pay like $50 a month, I think, for you to keep having that there, and for them to basically keep an eye on it to make sure that, you know, that it's
Well, my only
safe
concern,
for it to be there.
thank you, Megan. Ms. Zog, my only concern is this piece of property, obviously, do we have any liability when we lease it, other than what we have now? You know?
It's been, you know, historically used as storage. I think the bank owned it at one time, and I think they may have even had an apartment in there at one time.
Okay, so a contract with her, Paul, can we be indemnified from any issues on that? I mean, this, you know about.
Well, they're
this
gonna
stuff.
have a renter's liability
Okay.
policy, so if there's any accidents or issues that come up, that would be the first line of defense.
As long as you think we're covered, Paul, from legal.
I think it's okay.
I don't
yeah.
see a big problem with it. I just thought it ought to be mentioned.
Sure.
Due diligence.
I think that's a good question,
I do.
but here again, I'm reminded that we're gonna put firemen in it to sleep in it. And it was good enough to put people in it to have them sleep in it on a daily basis. So I think it's a much better use to be used as a business that would generate them revenue and add another business to our downtown. So if there's no further questions or anything, I move to approve resolution number R-17-42.
Well, hold on. I think this is the great way to start up something, because in the basement, we were wanting to start incubators, and I think this is the great way to show that we can work and do that. So, I'm all for it, I really am. I think we need more businesses downtown and more traffic.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve resolution number R-17-42 for adoption. Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. Resolution number R-17 thank you,
Thank
by the
you.
way, very much. Resolution number R-17-44, a resolution to award a construction contract for the 2016-2017.
Skip number 4.
It is going to be postponed to the next meeting. Yep.
I saw that. I really did
Easy
see
to
it.
read that.
Okay, go,
All right.
Paul. Thank
So
you.
resolution number R-17-44, a resolution to award a construction contract for the 2016-2017 KDOT Clink grant to John Graham Construction. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne will make comments.
Thank you, Mayor Commissioners. It's actually Jeff Graham Construction.
Oh, Jeff, sorry.
He's changed from, it's actually Jeff Graham Construction LLC has changed to J. Graham Construction, Inc. So we've used him several times in the past for quite a few different projects. He does a great job. This is the Clink project that goes from Buckeye to essentially the railroad overpass with a joint replacement repair to repair all those joints that are starting to pop, as well as it will take care of some replacing some storm drains that are starting to collapse and just fail. So it's a, what is it? Okay, it's not quite a 50-50 grant. We have $500,000 in KDOT funds, and then it's actually 2 grants combined that were is where the 500,000. There was a 300,000 grant and a 200,000 grant, and then the matches for city funds are were 200 and 200, I believe. That breakdown is really confusing, but yeah, it's all been budgeted. It's within the estimates, so we recommend approving the award of the contract. Be glad to answer any questions.
I have a question. This is the same type of project that occurred on East 11th over to, I think, the beginning of Northeast, and then on
And on South Walnut.
South Walnut.
One thing we're not doing with this one is the blacktop overlay.
Overlay, that was
because
my
it's-
question.
It's, hasn't been holding up as expected at all, so.
That was gonna be my next question on that blacktop overlay. It seemed like actually it did pretty good for several years, but it seemed like long-term.
Yeah, South Walnut it did really well. Not so much on the stretch between Buckeye and Walnut. And I think that had to do with the fact that it was going over asphalt instead of a brick street. It was kind of sucking the asphalt out of the top, so.
So I'm gonna vote to approve this project, but that, just while we're on the subject, do we have a policy or a plan in place to take care of these issues that we're starting to experience on these other places like South
Right.
Walnut and on 11th Street where these issues are starting to arise?
We are doing, there is joint repair that we do in-house for any blown joints, and then we do crack seal the cracks that you're seeing coming up, so.
Okay.
Also, how does this work into the Luark Street? Weren't we gonna do something on
Okay.
11th and
Yeah,
Luark intersection?
This actually takes out that, it's about 600 feet of the Luark and 11th intersection. We still haven't received whether, any word on whether we got the grant or not for that replacement of that actual intersection.
Okay.
I don't have anything further.
I have no further questions.
Anything else? I move to approve resolution R-17-44.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Commissioner Castler to approve resolution number R-17-44 for adoption. Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Resolution number R-17-45, a resolution to submit an application to KDOT for use of the Transportation Alternatives Program funds for a Safe Routes to School project. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne will make comments.
Thank you again. As I mentioned last meeting, KDOT advanced when their applications are due. They're actually due July 7th. So this resolution allows us to apply for the full 400,000 KDOT fund grant for sidewalks around the school. I've attached some information in the staff report, and Jason with BG Consultants is actually here tonight, and I'll let him kind of tell you more about the project.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioners. Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight. And as Thomas mentioned, I think it was last week, or excuse me, your last meeting, you approved a contract with BG Consultants to help you identify the infrastructure needs for safe routes to school. As Thomas mentioned, there's an aerial graphic and a map in the background there as part of your packet, and we've included a conceptual project estimate as well for safe routes to school improvements. The applications are due next Friday, so we're working diligently to get a safe routes to school plan put together, identify the improvements. We've been working with the school district a little bit. They've done some surveys and some tallies, have identified a number of needs. We've also investigated the area and identified a number of improvements. If you look at the 11 by 17 map that's included, I think, in the back of your packet there, the application to KDOT would include basically a request for $400,000 of federal funds to make improvements to, or actually improve the infrastructure and add infrastructure where those red lines are shown. So the red lines would be new sidewalks and improvements, basically starting at the community elementary school and expanding outwards, trying to connect to other modes of transportation, other areas, identifying those hot spots where you've got the vehicle and pedestrian interactions and trying to make those safer, making improvements to that, adding sidewalks, wider sidewalks so we don't have students walking in the streets, those kinds of improvements. I think the main, kind of the highlight of it would be the addition of a sidewalk along 4th Street going from the southeast corner of the school property, extending east, and that would connect into some of your trail plans, your trail improvements, and ultimately connect into the greater pedestrian and bicycle connectivity of the community. So, sir.
I have a couple questions. First of all, the sidewalk that you just mentioned.
Yes.
These funds will be used to replace existing sidewalk because there's actually a sidewalk there now?
There is a narrow sidewalk right on the back of curb. I think it's 3 feet wide.
Right.
And yeah, we can replace that or add to it. We can modify what's there, adjust some fencing. When you're running up against a sidewalk, well, back up a little bit. ADA requires a 4-foot minimum sidewalk, and really it should be about 5 feet. And when we put it on the back of a curb, you've got vehicles driving right alongside there. People tend to want to stay away from that curb. So typically we're looking at 6-foot wide sidewalks in that area, and I think what you've got now is about 3 feet. So yeah, that would definitely be an improvement and an extension all the way to the trail through that location.
And I just want to verify a couple things, because I know that sidewalk right there, once you get so far over, it runs into the property that was the former Sherman-Williams plant, and
Correct.
there's some, I don't know what those things are. Are they wells?
Yeah, I think so. They
The
test.
well,
Wellhead.
the well houses right up there against the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, is that gonna be an issue? And then the second question, a tag team question.
Yes.
Is this sidewalk improvement that would be on the southwest corner, and we've got sidewalk improvements there, but my question is that was just improved, that portion right there was just redone, I think by Graham Construction last year with the intersection, basically the redoing of the intersection there.
Okay.
Is that not, should that not go from there, where they stop their new sidewalk and proceed on to the west because it looks like where we're at right now, we're just redoing new sidewalk that was redone a year ago.
Yeah, well, bear in mind, this is still kind of that 30,000-foot view, kind of a
Okay.
conceptual level. And certainly, we're not gonna tear out something that's ADA compliant, just recently constructed, but it would be an extension beyond that.
Okay.
Now, you do have some flexibility here. What's, the actual line on the paper isn't specifically what you have to do with
Okay.
this application. It's kind of a starting point. It tells KDOT, hey,
We got a
we're
plan.
wanting to, we have a plan. We're gonna do some stuff on this corner and that corner. We're gonna provide some connections to other trails and community facilities, and we need some help doing it. And so, yeah, there will be some further discussion, and then during the design phase, assuming you get funded and you move forward with this, during that design phase is when we look at, actual survey and figure out, well, how do we get through that alignment specifically? And
And I wanna, you're our engineer on this. And I'm sure that staff has communicated to you this, but I want to make it perfectly clear my position on this. The trails that are gonna be there, these sidewalks that are gonna connect to those trails are great, but my priority is not getting sidewalks to these trails. My priority as an elected official is to get these kids to school safe without getting hit by cars. I don't care if they go to trails. I care that these kids can get to school without getting ran over.
Sure,
That's what
sure.
I'm concerned about. The other thing is that, and if they go to trails, that's great. But if these kids are what matters, not trails. The other thing that I wanted to ask is, this is an application to KDOT. When are they plan on awarding the contracts or the grant? Do we know what the award date is?
Yeah, so your application's due next Friday. It has to be postmarked next Friday. KDOT staff will spend a few months going out and visiting all the application sites, talking to the community. You can even kind of hash out your plan and say, well, we've had even more community discussion and surveys, and we still want to approach it as a $400,000 grant request, but we're going to maybe extend the sidewalk a little farther over here and less over there, and manipulate it and massage it, make it work for the community. You can certainly do that. That'll happen through the latter end of this summer, early fall. The announcements are planned for November of this year. So let's say you make an application July 7th. If you're awarded November of this year, you'll have about a year or two to basically go through the design phase. KDOT will actually bid the project for you and then implement the construction. So you're still a couple years out before the actual infrastructure is put in the ground from this point. And I appreciate your comments on the safety of the students. Yeah, that's the importance of this. I mentioned the connections to the trails. That wasn't necessarily what I intended this as to be a priority too. However, future connections to trails could lead to increased traffic, pedestrian traffic using those avenues to get here. So we do want to make sure there's a safe way for them to get from point A to point B. And I know Fourth Street's had a lot of kids walking in the streets. Same on the north side.
We had some kids hit out there, so
Yes.
that's what
Yes.
prompted this whole deal, is some kids getting hit by cars. And that's the main priority, is getting them kids to and from school without having to get out in traffic.
Exactly.
Thank you for doing what you're doing for us.
Sure. I appreciate the
But
city
if
giving
they're
us
on
the
the
opportunity to
trails,
help.
if they're on the trails, they won't be near the street.
They gotta get to school,
Gotta
Jim.
get to the school. Right.
Put them on the trail, get them within a quarter mile. It's that last quarter mile we gotta worry about.
They gotta have
there.
to run real fast.
On the subject of this trails, I had a citizen ask me what's the timeline for getting this complete, at the trails part of it? Do we have a timeline on?
We're actually, with the VCP, the Community Enhancement Foundation, or the Community Enhancement Foundation, approved 2 weeks ago. That is going off to KDOT, and so that they start doing their plan review of that. And so I'm not sure how long, but we actually went ahead and are requesting a 12-month extension on the grant, just because of some of the review processes have taken way longer than they should have, and that's largely due to EPA staffing has been cut a lot, so
Changeover.
That's what we're being told anyway, so.
Exactly.
It took us about a year and a half to get to the point where we have everything ready to move forward. And that's cost us a lot on our grant time, so we actually are extending that out. Their plans are ready, they're ready to go. It's just a matter of getting KDOT review through and getting the contractor hired in to start construction, so.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commission?
Move to approve resolution number R-17-45.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve resolution number R-17-45 for adoption. Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thomas, you're popular tonight. Resolution number R-17-46, a resolution to award a construction contract to Andale Construction for a taxiway projects. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne will make comments.
Thank you again. This is kind of a two-part resolution. One is we're sending a recommendation letter to FAA stating that we would like Andale to be able to be awarded the contract. And then two is we're going ahead and getting that contract ready to be approved, so that as soon as we get FAA approval, we can get them started. Andale Construction was the sole bidder. They came in at about 130, I think it's 130,000 over budget originally. Again, they were the sole bidder, so we went back to them and kind of negotiated with them. Hey, why is your bid so much higher than the engineer's estimate? And they had a lot of overtime in it, and so we're actually going to push the construction back to August, and so that takes out a lot of their overtime requirements just because they have other projects going, and that enables them to, they voluntarily reduce their bid to that $587,503.52. It's a 90-10 FAA grant with city entitlement funds that we get $150 or $150,000 every year. We can stack that up to 4 years, and we also had to help cover engineering expenses, both design and construction engineering services. We had, I think it was Smith, forgot the, where was that? Smith Center, Kansas, actually. They had some entitlement funds that they were going to lose. They actually transferred those to us to enable us to have enough FAA funds to do the project. So, happy to answer any questions.
So with what the Coffeyville Airport had banked, 600,000, and then we got the 150 through Smith Center, we were able to use that, so 750. And our bid came at 587.
Yep. And then we have, on top of that, you have about.
How much was the engineering?
200 to 300. I don't have the numbers with me.
But
on
we're
the engineering. So
we're under.
We're within our budget. Yep.
Okay.
So the 600,000 entitlement funds, tell us where that comes from again. I mean,
Every year, the city gets 150,000 in entitlement funds for the airport from the FAA.
okay,
And we can bank those up to 4 years.
okay,
And after that, we lose them.
right,
So that's where
okay.
Smith Center.
And how did we get the Smith Center, Kansas? Who,
FAA,
how did that happen?
FAA
Suggested it?
saw that they had funds that they weren't going to be able to use.
Oh, I see.
They contacted them to see if they'd transform. We actually did this for, I don't remember, we transferred some last year.
Yeah, I recall that.
To, I can't remember where it was, but.
That's pretty,
same-
that
same.
sounds like, you know, a blessing, I guess is the word.
Yep.
To get that money, 150,000,
Yeah.
Those funds expire after 4 years,
right.
so they weren't gonna be able to get another
Right.
project. They gave it to us, just like we did
But don't tell Trump, we won't get it.
with some we
So basically, 1 year we got 300,000 out of them, kinda,
Kinda,
in a
sorta,
sense,
yeah.
right?
It's just surprising we can get that 150, I guess what I'm saying. I'm glad though, so,
Sure.
good. We should be very happy. Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve resolution R-17-46 for adoption.
Second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Castler to approve resolution number R-17-46 for adoption. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I got a question, Thomas. Hang on one second. I wanted to squeeze this in a while ago and I didn't get a chance. Back to the contract that Jeff Graham got. And if my numbers in my head were right, he looked like 20% lower on that bid, right? I mean, I had my finger on it.
Something like
It
that,
was
yeah.
something like that.
I mean, and he's been doing us a great job, right? Him and his
Yes.
crew, of course.
Yep.
I mean, I just think it's worth saying, that, you know, we're lucky to have a contractor like him in town. You know, right here local. Those other bids, the other three, were they from all out of town?
Yes.
You know, that's about how much more it costs to travel from out of town. And I just think it's worthy of saying, as commissioners, that, you know, we ought to be lucky we got him and his crew to do that.
Yep.
20% savings is quite a bit. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Resolution number R-17-47, a resolution to execute an engineering service agreement with Trinity Consultant for engineering services. Electric Utility Deputy Director Mike Shook will make comments.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. As you stated, the first item or the only item I bring before you this evening for your consideration is an engineering services agreement. The electric utility is required to develop and maintain both a spill prevention, control, and countermeasure plan, often called an SPCC plan, and a stormwater pollution prevention plan, also called a SWIP and SWPP, for all of our facilities. In 2011-2012, our plans were reviewed and updated by Trinity Consultants. These plans must be reviewed and updated every 5 years per KDHE and EPA regulations. Burns McDonnell Engineers developed a SWIP, a stormwater pollution prevention plan for generating facility number 2. However, they did not develop an SPCC plan for that facility. So we've sought pricing and received pricing back to review our existing plans, including development of an SPCC plan for Gen 2 facility. We received bids from, or quotes from 2 engineering firms, SIGA Engineering at $50,500, Trinity Consultants for $11,700, and we've yet to receive anything back from Burns McDonnell. Staff believes that Trinity offers the best pricing since they've developed our existing and current plans. Therefore, staff recommends the mayor be authorized to execute an engineering services agreement with Trinity Consultants to develop and review both the SPCC and SWPP plan for the electric utility. And I'd be happy to try to answer any questions that you may have.
So the first question I have is, why such a huge gap in the quotes between, I mean, 50,500 and 11,700? It's almost like we're not apples to apples here.
When we bid this out originally back in 2011, SIGA was pretty high on that. I think they're not sure. It's the fear of the unknown, so they put enough into their quote to cover everything.
Yeah.
Didn't you say that Trinity had was involved?
That's Trinity's, they're mainly an environmental consulting firm, or SIGA or Burns and Mac. Sega's more of a broader and more diverse engineering firm. They have an environmental department, and they assist us on our air compliance. But I think the key is that they weren't sure what all we had in place, so they set their price high enough to cover any unknowns. Where Trinity, this is mainly what they focus on.
Okay.
I have no other questions.
Nope.
I'll make a motion to approve R-17-47 for adoption.
You guys aren't jumping on that one so quick, are you?
I'm second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Williams to approve resolution number R-17-47 for adoption. Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Hey, while you're up here, how's everything going at the plant?
Everything's going good. We are still receiving daily dispatches. We're at the new facility, normally 2 dispatches a day. We've received some dispatches with Unit 7 in the last, especially when it was hotter out. We received several dispatches, and we're in discussions currently with GRDA about putting Unit 6 back into the market and seeing if there's some possible revenues to derive from Unit 6. And it looks promising to work that out. And then we'll kind of play the market, because energy is now a commodity, and that's how it's treated.
What's the average run time of those machines out there?
It varies. Today was 1 hour. Yesterday, I believe, was 10 hours.
I say, I hear them a lot, but
Yeah.
today I noticed I didn't hear them.
1 hour, yeah. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah.
It depends a lot heavily on the wind power that's being generated.
Sure.
Interesting. Thank you, Mike.
Bet.
Yep, thank you. Ordinance number G-17-02, first reading of an ordinance to adopt by reference the 2017 standard traffic ordinance. City Attorney Paul Kreitz will make comments.
Commissioners, the city currently uses the 2015 version of the standard traffic ordinance. In case you ever wondered what that looked like, here it is. Reading from the preface, the standard traffic ordinance for Kansas cities has been published by the League of Kansas Municipalities since 1960. It is designed to provide a comprehensive traffic code for Kansas cities. We're recommending that you go ahead and adopt the 2017 version of the STO. The legislature this year passed a law that increased seatbelt fines from $10 per violation to $30 per violation. So the league is telling us that we need to adopt the new code in order to be compliant with Kansas law. And it's time to update it anyway, so.
And as we kind of discussed earlier, if we don't, Coffeyville is on the hook for making up the difference, is that right?
I'm not
Sure.
certain about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Depending on how good a lawyer you got.
I don't know if that right now it's a $10 fine. And
Yeah.
whether that's a pass-through or whether that's a share or whether that's something that's retained by the city. If it's a pass-through and if we're supposed to be collecting a $30 fine, then in theory, for the tickets that we issue from July 1st until we adopt the new code, we'd be losing money every time we wrote a ticket.
Right.
What do you think, Deputy?
I think we ought to do it. I think everybody should wear their seatbelt, so therefore there's no need to get a ticket.
Exactly.
Can we take people now at
Questions?
this time, or I guess we can. Go ahead, Bo.
You can
Okay.
allow comments on a specific item if you wish to
Yeah.
do so.
Okay.
I
thank you,
don't
Paul.
necessarily think this is a good idea.
What's that? What's your?
Increasing the fine from
Well,
$10.
it's already been increased, right, Paul?
Do the state of
Yeah, that's
We-
nothing that the
my
city is
question
doing.
especially
That's
is
the
if we
state of
don't do
Kansas is
this,
doing that.
What do we, do we face any penalties? I mean, do we absolutely have to do this?
Well,
We were
as
just
we were-
talking about that.
Right,
but-
so the city is potentially, could be on the hook for $20 for every ticket seatbelt violation that they write for the state of, if this money goes from the city directly to the state of Kansas, they have a $30 charge. That's what
Okay.
their requirements are. We only charge $10. So the city, do the math. We write
Right.
one, we're on the hook to pay the state $20 more. The city is, because
Okay.
we didn't
Now-
charge enough.
Now, it's 30, while Bo's talking about, while the subject on the table, a $30 fine, then there's court costs on top of that,
No,
right?
there are no court costs with the seatbelt
Okay.
violation.
$30 is pretty cheap that's kind of a safety issue.
And whether it's a pass-through or not, it's a state law at
Right.
this point, and it's not one we can opt out of. There are certain laws that the city can opt out of that are not uniform to all cities, but this is a uniform law applicable to all cities.
Sounds fair to me.
Yep. I'll make a motion to approve G-17-02 for the first reading.
Second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to approve ordinance number G-17-02 for first reading. Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
This time I'll open it up since we don't have a city manager report. We've asked for staff comments, and I believe Cindy Price
I
will provide those
have
to us.
2 or 3.
Well, do we skip the
Announcements.
comments from the public?
No, that's next.
Okay, well,
Well, city manager report.
Right.
And we're gonna skip that and do that with the staff
Okay, okay,
comment right
okay,
now.
Okay.
I just have a few announcements, Commissioner
Okay.
Taylor.
Sure, sure, I just was wondering about the order here, that's
Yeah.
fine. Thank
The
you.
budget work session is scheduled with commissioners on July the 6th at 6 PM, and that will be in the conference room at 11 East Second. There is a special event out at the Aquatic Center this Friday night. They're planning a teen luau. The pool will close at 6 o'clock, and it will reopen at 6:30 to 9:30. And this is for ages 13 to 19, and the cost is $2. So we encourage all our young people to go out for this. This is the first special event that the pool's planning for this year. City offices will be closed on July 4th, and there'll be no residential trash service that day. It'll be backed up one day. Tuesday's trash will be picked up on Wednesday, and then Friday's trash will be picked up on Saturday. Fireworks, you've seen the tents that are popping up. It is legal to sell and shoot fireworks July 1st through the 4th from 8 AM until midnight. And that's all the announcements that I have.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy.
Of course, July 8th, that's the big summer celebration.
Yep.
So that will be out at Walter Johnson Park, and that will be a day-long event.
Right. Thank you.
And what time the fireworks start, about dark?
9:30, 9:45 is
Yep.
what they usually
Just so
say.
people know, of course, naturally.
At this time, we'll take comments from the public. The public is free to comment on items not listed on the agenda. Please address comments to the commission as a body and be mindful of others who may wish to speak by limiting your comments to 3 minutes.
I got a comment.
Can I have you come to the,
I live up by Stark in this yes car.
could I have you come up to the podium, please?
And I've never had fireworks up there. They had them at the golf course at the end of Stark, on the west end of Stark.
Uh-huh.
There's a golf course, they used to have fireworks.
Okay.
But they quit last year. I have neighbors all around me shooting off fireworks till midnight, and I don't like it. What if my house catches on fire? I had, at 1411, I can tell you the owner of the house, but she doesn't live there. And at 901 North Lee, shooting off fireworks for 4 hours. And what if it hits my house and burns my house? Who's gonna pay for it? And over on Keith Street, I had 2 other families shooting towards the lake. And I don't appreciate it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like all those fireworks coming over my house.
What was your name, ma'am?
Connie Mendoza.
Connie, this is a really good issue. You bring up some good points. I want to ask Paul, from a legal point, what if a fire catches fire? What went through your mind when she asked that? Let's address that one first.
Well, went through my thought is that whoever shot off the firework is responsible for the damage.
Well,
People need to be careful, obviously.
okay. Well, Connie, these things enter all of our minds, and as you get more mature in life, you start thinking about these things more. Thank you. But people need to have insurance on their house in case that person.
Well, I have insurance.
Right, and the city, we've got rights in this city, and all cities, and some cities ban fireworks,
They do.
okay? And it's a consideration for this panel, but, it's about a celebration of our freedom. And, I think about it every year, because I personally don't like it myself. In my house, around my house, these things go through my mind. But it's a real good question. The city makes a lot of money on these fireworks.
I know they do.
The sales tax and then the rent for this and everything, employing people.
But I've been there from '04 to 2016, and I've not had any problems. But last year, during the 4th of July, they went on all evening. There was four families setting them off.
Well, it is a little aggravating, and we've all been through it, okay? But the kids like it, people like it, and it's a consideration for the city to think about.
I'd just rather go to the fairground and watch the city
Right.
fireworks.
What are the hours on that?
Our hours.
The hours
Till
on,
midnight, right?
that you,
Right.
now say that again, the hours
What are the hours you can shoot off?
from 8 AM until midnight.
And
That's
what are the
July,
days you can shoot off from?
July 1st through the 4th, 8 AM to midnight.
I mean, we've got it pretty limited.
So if someone's shooting off after midnight, say about 2 o'clock in the morning, what can you do?
Contact the police department.
Because that's happened to be,
Yeah, and the police do cite for the illegal discharge of fireworks from time to
I
time.
mean, I'm not a huge fan of the loud noises, but it is what it is, and you kind of learn to do it for a few days, and then the rest of the year, they're not, so. And I understand your plight, I really do.
I don't like it, that's why I come to complain.
My next question was that, you hear, that we obviously understand, Connie, that it's a concern to you, or you wouldn't be here, and,
Well,
you
that's
know.
what I said, I moved in that house in '04, and it wasn't until last year that the neighbors started setting off all these fireworks.
Well, hopefully this year will be a little bit more of a mellow year for you.
I hope so.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
It's a good question Connie brings up. I think about it every year, and I look at, you gotta weigh the pros and the cons, and we've got a great fireworks display out here, and a lot of people, Gail and the whole team, that will help the situation a little bit.
Yes, it could. And we have other surrounding areas that put on good fireworks displays
Right,
throughout the
right.
week also, so, not that ours is
Right, right.
gonna be fantastic, I know
Right, right.
that, but there's other areas that are putting them on also, so.
Hello, Bo Rupert, 1309 12th. Earlier this week, I had met with Griffin Walker and also met with Mayor Bauer, talked on the phone with quite a few other people. And the city manager, Kendall Francis, had sent out an email where Griff Walker and I would like to have a meeting with the city commission and the mayor and the commissioners to come up with, some brainstorming ideas on getting a program for at-risk youth and troubled teens over at the Boys and Girls Club. I think it would be a great thing, and if you guys could coordinate that with us and try to set up a date, that would be great. I understand not all 5 of you can make it. I get that. You have to send out a public notice because the majority of you will be there. But it would be great if somehow we could all get coordinated and get a meeting started.
Wasn't there something in our package I saw about that?
We got an email on it.
Somewhere I saw it.
We received an email last week from Kendall.
I also
regarding
wanted to
this.
say thank you for the appointment.
Welcome.
So,
Thank you, Bo.
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sure we'll be hearing back from us on that other, you wanna have that meeting, right?
Yeah, Griff Walker.
Well, who responds to him on that?
I will respond and
Okay,
try to
okay.
coordinate a time that we can all, at least if the majority of us can meet with him.
Thank you, Mayor.
So, any other questions from the public? Comments? All right, seeing none, we'll open this up to comments from the commissioners and staff. Nothing?
You guys have any comments?
I don't know.
Well, I'd like to start out by saying thank you, Cindy. She ran our meeting tonight for us with Kendall being gone. Good job.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you.
The summer celebration is coming up. Well, that'll be before we meet again, so encourage everyone to go attend the summer celebration out of Walter Johnson. It's an all-day event. What time does it start? 8 a.m.?
8 o'clock, they're having a 5K
Car-
run that will
Yeah.
start earlier than that.
Yep. And then the car show, and there's a lot of activities that are going on around that. So I encourage everyone to get out and attend. If you can't attend all of it, at least attend the evening, because the fireworks show is phenomenal. They do a great, the pyrotechnic people out there do a great job on putting that on. They did last year, and so again, encourage you to go out and attend that.
I forgot the guy's name to run the controls, I'm sorry, Bruce?
Connie Mendoza.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, thank you. And what was your name too? Raymond, okay. Raymond, you and I talked after the last meeting. I think I got a text, and I haven't been looking at it because I got my speaker off, or deal off. We've been asked not to look at our phones during the meeting as much as we can, and I got a message last time that the sound was off. I just wonder, how's that going? Is there any way we can get somebody to call you and let you know how the sound sounds, you know, when it starts or something? Because it happens a lot, we hear it's not working about every third or fourth time, and it's driving us about half crazy. Just something to talk about with the public. I don't know who could call, but really a topic, not right now, but how's the sound tonight?
I believe it sounds fine, but it is some feedback that we get once in a while.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, that's
Any
all.
other comments? Okay, we'll move to.
Yeah, I do have. Is there anything going on with the old Walmart that, we talked about 2 weeks ago? Anything going on with that? I think my company sent in a letter, someone, or Fred did, about that, and anything cooking on that?
I don't
deal?
have an update from Kendall on that, no.
Okay,
We can follow up on some email with that.
yeah.
I'd be interested to know about it also.
Well, there again, we'll talk about that.
Yep. So, we're gonna move to executive session for non-elected personnel for 5 minutes?
After 5-minute break.
Okay. We'll reconvene in executive session at 7:35. And what do we want, 15 minutes?
We need more than that.
30 minutes?
30 minutes.
So until 8:05?
Is there a second?
I second it.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Williams to recess to executive session for the discussion of non-elected personnel to reconvene on or before 8:05, and there will be a 5-minute break. All in favor?
Aye.